Welcome to StreetGangs.com SGTV. I'm in downtown Los Angeles at the Criminal Courts building, sitting on the Johannes Mehserle trial. The former BART police officer is accused of killing Oscar Grant. Today, Mr. Mehserle took the stand. He was on the stand all morning and all afternoon. This was his second day of testimony, and today was the most tense that the court had been throughout this entire trial. In the morning, Mr. Mehserle testified under direct examination about him making a mistake when he shot Oscar Grant with his gun when he meant to use a taser. And while defense attorney Mr. Raines took him through what actually happened that morning, he began to get emotional and he started to cry on the stand. Now, much of the family and friends who were sitting in on the trial this morning did not think that Mr. Mehserle's emotional reaction while he was testifying was sincere. They have stated that for a year and a half, Mr. Mehserle has shown no emotion, no sympathy whatsoever to the Grant family and to him shooting Grant and killing him on that platform. Now, throughout the testimony, he has been stating that it was an accident, he meant to use a taser, and he never meant to shoot him in the back with his gun. But under cross-examination, David Stein had asked him, how many times have you told someone that this was an accident? And apparently, Mr. Mehserle didn't tell anyone that it was an accident. He didn't tell his partner, John Whiffenden. He didn't tell Anthony Pirone, who was on the platform with him. He didn't tell the lieutenant or the commanders who came on the platform shortly after the shooting, nor did he tell anyone at BART headquarters at Lake Merritt when he was put in the interrogation room that it was an accident. But time and time again, what he did say was that he thought Oscar Grant was reaching for a gun out of his front right pocket. And he has been consistent with saying that, but he has never explained to anyone that he thought what he did was an accident. Defense attorney David Stein asked him that if you thought you were using your taser, why didn't you scream taser, taser, taser as they were instructed to do during training? And he really didn't have any good answers for a lot of the questions that David Stein, the prosecutor, put in front of him. He said he wasn't thinking about certain things, that he had his mind on something else, and that he felt that his life was threatened because he thought that Oscar Grant had a weapon. Mehserle even testified that even if he saw a gun, his intention was to use a taser. But then David Stein brought up a previous incident that he had on a BART train where he did draw his weapon on a train with passengers, and he asked him, well, why did you pull out your gun during this other incident? And he stated that he felt it was safer to pull the gun out on that train because there were no people or passengers in his line of fire, and the reason why he had no intention of pulling out his gun on the platform on January 1st was because if he did fire his gun, there were passengers on that car in front of him that would have been in the line of fire. Another really interesting point during cross-examination was Stein had asked him, why did you cuff Grant after you shot him? And his response was that he didn't search him, he felt that he still posed a lethal threat, and that he still believed that he may have a gun in his pocket. And then Stein said, well, if you thought he was a lethal threat, then why did you reholster your gun? Which goes against the policy. If you have a suspect in front of you who's a lethal threat, you keep your gun drawn. And his response was that he never even meant to pull out the gun in the first place, and he wasn't thinking straight.